Greetings, I present to you the SMK, the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope, on CFRU 93.3 FM in Guelph, Ontario, through the web on CFRU.ca, and syndicating across Canada. I am your guardian overseer, Nicholas Cooper. We will be looking inward and beyond along the branches of progressive, fusion, and alternative genres, a cathartic anomaly, and other unique discoveries near and far. Join me as we gaze into the audible lens out at the diverse musical landscape on the ever-changing horizon. Welcome, darling sentries, to an audience far from the Observational Tower, the interview performance series here on the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope on CFRU 93.3 FM. Today we are turning our lens to a different sphere of music than we've recently been delving into in these audience features, into a more folk scape with today's musical guest. Why don't you introduce yourself and where you hail from?
Oh, sure. My name is Rory Taillon, and I live just outside of Ottawa in the tiny township of Russell.
Well, welcome to this audience with me. I think we're going to have a very good chat together.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time coming. You've reached out to me through Facebook, and that was almost around, that was a time when the COVID-19 pandemic started. So lots of stuff has happened.
Yeah, big time. I think I originally reached out because I was setting up my release tour or something like that, and I was going to be in town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of plans have changed because of that. Actually, before we get into the main interview, I just thought of this when doing these questions that are you a Monty Python fan?
Oh yeah, of course.
So I have these little questions. What is your quest and what is your favorite color? What can you tell us about those to our audience?
My quest is to continue to be able to play music and tour as soon as I can, and have a good time. My favorite color is purple. I feel like I would have got shot off for having to question that.
Oh, that's a good choice in color. Yeah, purple's grown on me as well, actually, in the last few years.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice full color, I think.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to get this out of the way too. You have a magnificent beard.
Thank you very much. I grew it myself.
Do you have any self-care regimens to keep it that long and beautiful?
Trim it regularly, otherwise it gets wiry, and I got to comb it every time I shower. Oil, a little bit of beard oil, and the mustache gets the wax. But, other than that, just don't let it get too wiry.
I've never had my beard that long myself.
It's weird once you do it to go back to not having it. It actually started. I used to have a shorter beard, and then I went on a tour and I didn't bring anything to trim it with, and I came back and I had the extra. My wife was like, "Yeah, it looks good," so I've just kept it since then. Long.
Awesome. Well, it looks good on you.
Thanks.
For this audience, you have the ability to perform for us, which is very great and awesome of you.
Hey, my pleasure. I'm pumped. I like to as Garth said, I like to play.
Awesome. So why don't we enter our first music segment? What songs do you plan to play for us?
So I'm going to do the second single off my new record, Drifting. The song is called Float. And then I'm going to do Tether, which is also off of the new record.
Awesome. Well, here, I'll pass it on to you. Rory Taillon, right? That's how you pronounce. That's very nice that you put your pronunciation in the one sheet, by the way.
Oh, it's one of those names where, have to. That was like a tip when I first started out. Somebody was just like, if you ever send somebody your name, make sure you tell them how to say it, because it's a weird name to say.
Awesome. All right, now I'll pass it on. Rory Taillon here on the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope.
It's so hard to dip a toe in. Sometimes I just want to swim. The wave after wave crash over me. Hold my breath and jump in. I want to float and take the weight off my heels and fall to the waves and know what it feels like to let go and just give in. I built this vessel to hide inside. Sit alone and pass the time. Stern face and cutting words. Keep myself hidden behind the eyes, and I want to float. Take the weight off of my heels. Fall to the waves. Know what it feels like to let go and just give it. It's so hard to let you see what goes on inside. I appear so hankered, so secure. The current calls me with such warm voices. I'll breathe out and drift away. Take the weight off of my heels and fall to the waves. Know what it feels like to let go and just flow. take the weight off my heels, fall to the waves, know what it feels like to let go and just give in. All right, so that was Float, and this is Tether. From out of this cloud, it's become too dark to see, become too heavy to float up here. I must come down and pull me down, please pull me down from out of this cloud. Well, I've been here so many times, I missed the taste. But don't worry, love, I'll always come back, I'll always come down for you. Just don't forget to pull me down, please pull me down from out of this cloud. I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried about floating. I'm worried, I'm worried, don't lose your hold on me. I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried about floating. I'm worried, don't lose your hold on me. Pull me down, please pull me down from out of this cloud and hold me. Worried about floating. Please hold me.
Whoa, incredible.
Thanks very much.
That was amazing. Tether was so good.
Thank you very much.
Especially with your looping. What loop pedal are you using, actually?
I use the Jam Man, the stereo one, and so it's you get the dual buttons instead of just the one stomp. I used to have a Boss one, like just the guitar loop, and that proved to be a little more difficult to get two things going. But this get multiple inputs into it, so it's a little more fun to play with.
Yeah, being able to loop your guitar as well as vocals gets extra textures in there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a compact version of like the bigger ones, which are wild and fantastic. But I don't know. I've grown attached to this tiny little one.
Well, that's probably all you need.
True.
Let us now enter in the main segments, main interview segments now.
Dun dun dun.
Ooh, scary. I like to check in with the artists with like a COVID-19 pandemic check-in. How have you been handling this new life that we've been thrown into these past few months?
I mean, it's just kind of, obviously not great to not be able to play and tour and all that stuff, which is what I spend most of my time doing. But, kind of just got used to it and spent a little more time doing stuff around the house and reading. And I don't know. It's tough, but it's what we got to do, right? To do our part and just kind of. And I wasn't writing for a while because I wasn't finding myself being able to, but I've started working on other projects and stuff now and gotten back into writing, which has been good. You?
Probably the same thing, like staying at home, like trying to do my own music, continuing with my radio show here, and just reaching out to people as much as I can. Yeah, because that's the most important thing we can do right now is when we can't physically be together is to just support and make sure that we keep on, I guess, being present in our lives and just saying that you're not alone during this time. Yeah, big time, for sure. Can you imagine we didn't have like this kind of thing with Zoom and all that, right? Like, yeah, it'd be something else. I guess we would be going back to writing letters. Yeah. I mean, I kind of I like letters and stuff. I feel like it's one of those like niche things now, but I don't know. It's always kind of fun when somebody sends you a letter that's not a bill. Yeah. Or actually, I've been lately, I guess the past few months now, sending like birthday cards or nice. It's been mainly birthday cards, and for me it felt really calming and tranquil to be like writing physical words on paper and then and putting it together and sending it off. It just felt really nice, and so far the people who've received them like really appreciated it. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So you did say you're staying more around the house. Have you been what have you been picking up or learning new things or like new skills and hobbies? I got a little more into cooking. I have a wood stove, so I spent a lot of time like preparing wood for that. that was fun. I don't know. My wife and I have really gotten into like plants. It was always kind of something we enjoyed, but now it's more like, oh, hey, if we do this to this plant, it'll do, like just a little more than just, oh, let's put the plant here and water it. And reading. My wife and I been reading a lot together, and it's been nice, kind of, instead of just watching TV or something. And we're going through the classics right now. So what are you currently on? What book?
We are currently reading James Baldwin's Fire Next Time, so it's a little heavy, but we before that we were on Animal Farm, which I'd never read before, George Orwell, and before that, I think we read Brave New World was before that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm reading
those are
Jack Kerouac.
I've never read those books. I'm a slow reader myself.
So am I. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. I can certainly hear that you have a great passion for singing and playing music. I am assuming that, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No,
where did that come from?
I started singing when I was a little kid. My mom was the organist at the church in my town, and she stuck me in the choir. And then I did like classical training for 7 years, I think, until I was in high school. And then I picked up the guitar when I was about 15, and I kind of got into the late mind blowing of like I bought a Hendrix CD. It was in a discount bin, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy's making music that doesn't sound like anything else. What is this? Who is this wizard that was alive 50 years ago?" And yeah, I kind of went from there, and then played in bands for a long time, and then in my 20s, bands all either stick together or more likely fall apart, and then yeah, just started playing, and I really enjoy performing, and writing has been like a cathartic experience for me, so it's nice to have that.
Like, what kind of classical training were you doing? Like for voice or for other instruments?
Yeah, vocal classical training and stuff like that, and I was in like ensembles and choirs and all that good stuff, musicals.
Oh, wow, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
Which musicals?
Oh, what did we do? Well, the last one I was in was The Sound of Music, and I played the oldest son. It was like a town performance, like a town group. But when I was like, for younger kids, I played Lumiere and Beauty and the Beast and the Scarecrow and Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wow. Like you've had lots of roles and experience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't done anything since I was about 15, but I think it'd be fun to get back into it, but I just don't know if I'd want to shave the beard for a part.
Oh. Well, I guess it would be like older and gruffer parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I always tell my wife, if somebody offered me the Phantom and the Phantom of the Opera, I'd consider shaving my beard. That would be sweet.
Or that could be like a future project of your like album project.
Yeah.
A theatrical kind of
That'd be
album.
Fun. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, you gave me your albums, the newest one, Drifting, then just the other day before the interview, the Only Whispers, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have a grand voice. It's very versatile, powerful yet tender, smooth and warm, delicate and powerful.
Thank you.
So that was from your classical training.
Oh yeah.
And I guess did the more maybe the powerful part come out more with the bands that you were in? Or what kind of bands did you what genres were they?
I was all over the place when I was younger. Like I sang in a death metal band, to blues bands, to rock bands. I played in a funk band for a while. That was pretty fun. Yeah, and I did like cover bands for a bit too. But the volume, I definitely think was from the classical, because when you're singing with a group, they're not not normally mic'd, so you gotta project. Yeah, so it's kind of a little bit of that mixed with now that I'm older, it's like instead of I can kind of play with it a little more. But yeah, definitely the power came from the choirs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you have like training, like warm-ups to keep your voice to be that that good?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I do. Like, I just make sure I'm not like, I'll do like little scales, and then you jump around and you kind of go high, but down to low. Like, I just do a little bit. Make sure I have some water before I get going. Especially, if I'm gonna have to start out with something that's pushing. If I don't have time to warm up properly, which, like, I know people who warm up for like an hour or two, and I never really found the difference for me personally. Like, I know, to each their own, to each their voice. So yeah, just a little bit. And if I don't have time, I try to have a mellow song first and use that as a warm up. But yeah.
Yeah, gradually get up there.
Yeah. And then after the show, have tea with honey and lemon and sometimes whiskey.
Well, it would be well deserved.
Thank you.
So, I guess now in your life, like with your solo work, it's just like you focus on your like solo voice and accompaniment. Is that why is the reason that you've like kind of stuck with that like simplistic kind of instrumentation and arrangement in your works?
It kind of started out as like a necessity for touring. Because when I first started doing my original music, I had a band, and then with touring, it became complicated with a lot of people, as anybody who tours knows. And it got to the point where I would play locally with the band, but when I was touring, it would be solo, and then I kind of built a sound for the road, and then I moved away from where I was living, so then it kind of became just the way it was, and I just built up around that, and I enjoyed it. I love playing with people, and I played with a lot of really amazing musicians who, like in my band and with others, but I don't know. I really like being able to control the intensity on my own, so that's always been fun with myself, because you build up a loop, and live I usually play with a suitcase kick drum as well. It's for bottom end on things, and I don't know, maybe I'll get into the band stuff again, but right now it's kind of fun to see what I can do myself.
Venture out on your own.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that also makes sense from the touring standpoint, because like it is expensive to tour even just across Canada, which it looks like from your like musical resume, you've been pretty much all over Canada.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I do miss that with this. Yeah. I was actually, with the new album coming out, I had a cross country tour mostly laid out that is gonna have to maybe be next year, or we'll see how things go. Maybe the year after that, who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but
Well, we just have to be optimistic.
Optimistic, yes.
For as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like how is touring solo? Like what has been like the highlight of that, being able to go across the whole country?
That mostly. I get to see things a lot of people only see once in their life. I get to see that multiple times in a year. And I've made friends, because I've been touring like East Coast, like all the way to Halifax and PEI, and that for like 5 years now, I think. So I have a lot of friends out there, so it's really nice to see people and catch up and all that. And then like West Coast is amazing. And my wife, when she can, she comes with me, which is awesome, because then we get to, in between getting to a venue, we'd be like, oh, let's stop off at this place for a bit, and last time she was with me in BC, we stopped for 15 minutes at the hot springs because I was like, okay, we only have 15 minutes and I got to get to Nelson. So yeah, seeing things and meeting people I wouldn't normally get to meet has been really cool about it. And, getting to play everywhere is awesome.
Yeah, like seeing all the beautiful sights and making like new lasting connections to be able to return there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us talk about actually, is Ottawa where you grew up?
No, I grew up just north of Oshawa, Ontario.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I lived around Toronto for a long time, and we moved up here, I think 4 or 5 years ago now. Yeah.
All right.
Other than the snow, it's pretty sweet.
Does it get really like heavy up there?
Yeah, we get lots of snow. Like, it's not like Montreal where it's like that bone cold, but about the same amount of snow as they do.
I was gonna ask. Well, I guess now you've been there for a few years now, how the Ottawa music scene is and how it's been treating you.
It's good. It's cool. It's kind of it's very interesting in that there's like pockets of musicians that all kind of like hang out and then play these certain places, and but there's not everybody kind of like gets along mostly too, which is neat. Ottawa's kind of like that in general too. There's like areas where certain people hang out. It's been going pretty good. It's nice to hang out here. I don't play Ottawa that much. I always never seem to play where I'm living very often because I'll tour and stuff. But when I do, it's been really nice, and I've had some really cool like opportunities around here, opening for some cool acts and playing in one of the many festivals that Ottawa has in the summer.
Or what kind of festivals does Ottawa have? I think I've only heard there's like the Blues Fest.
Yeah, that's like the biggest one. But so the big ones are like Blues Fest, and then there's Jazz Fest, and then there's Hope Volleyball, the Dragon Boat Festival, City Folk is pretty good. But there's like Arboretum Fest. There's Megaphono in the winter. Like summer here is great because there's basically a different festival every weekend. And it's not it's different genres and stuff too. So it's it's not all the same thing. So you could be like at Jazz Fest on the weekend, and then the next week go to like the Tulip Festival where some flamenco guitar players are playing. Like it's neat. They try to do a lot to support the arts here and just get people outside.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well I guess that would, if they could arrange it well, that would be great for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
now it's getting cold.
Yeah, I was gonna say this summer I don't think they did too much. Like Blues Fest did a drive-in, and I went to the first night of that, and that was fun. It was kind of cool, driving like the old movie theaters, and it was neat that they did. I think they stuck to only the Canadian acts that were supposed to play, which was neat too. Well, obviously, I guess international people wouldn't have been able to come in July anyway, and still, but yeah.
Or I guess that's like from the Canadian perspective, that would be a positive to be able to focus more on the Canadian talent.
Yeah. Like they do a really good job, I find, up here with like the Bills being a lot of Canadian acts, but they do like this year Blues Fest was supposed to have like Rage Against the Machine and I'm blanking on who else is coming. But yeah. But normally they do a decent job with lots of Canadian acts giving us a chance here.
Yes. I'm seeing. Why don't we allow you to play another song for us?
Sure.
Here. What song are we going to be listening to?
I'm gonna do Willful and Blind off my new album.
And that is another looping song, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'm excited to hear that. And
Right on.
our listeners and viewers should be as well.
Awesome.
Whoa. That was Rory Taillon here on the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope in this audience far from the Observational Tower. I kind of jumped when you did the big vocal roar.
Is it too loud? I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. No, that's great. Surprise. Something to throw out there and make sure the audience is listening.
Scare him into it. Oh my. That's funny.
Yeah. Why don't we now talk a bit about like your songs, like the more, or into the like the composition and arrangement of them.
Sure.
So as it's like solo voice and acoustic guitar mostly, or actually, well, guitar, sorry, I should say guitar. Do you, or why don't you describe to us like what you try and bring forth with this arrangement in your songs?
It depends on the song for me, really. Like I've got songs that are just like the acoustic guitar and the vocal, and a lot of times I'll have like a riff or chord progression, and I'll put it on. I write with the loop, so if I have something in mind, I'll put that on and I'll let it play over and over again and kind of just sit in it. And then just think of how it makes me feel, and then kind of if I have some words in my book that I've written down that kind of fit with that, then I'll start building that way. But with looping songs, it depends on the song, really. Like sometimes I'll have like a beat in my mind and I'll like play it out on my guitar, like as a percussion instrument, and kind of see how that goes. So like a song like the Willful and Blind, like I just played, like that started out with that guitar riff, and I had that and I put it on a loop, and I was like, oh, it'd be kind of, I'd just been watching, what was I watching? Oh, I just gotten into PJ Harvey, and she had like this ominous weird stuff that she'd written for a movie, and I was like, oh my God, it'd be so cool to have like monk style, just a chord, the only chord in it to be like me singing, and then add that, and then the rest of the song kind of came from that. I had the chord, had the guitar part, and then I just kind of played with it and built on it. And then with that one as well, in the studio, that loud part, my longtime collaborator and producer was just like, Rory, you should just like wail on this because you're super quiet. But on the recording, it's in the background, so it's kind of fun. Yeah. I don't know. It depends on the song for me. Like I don't really have like this is how I write a song. It's like, oh, I'm feeling this with this. Oh, where's this gonna go? Would this sound cool? No, that sounds terrible. Don't do that, Rory. Oh, this sounds cool. Put that in. Oh, this little weird riff sounds odd. I like it. You know, that kind of thing.
It's pretty much like just discovering, experimenting.
Yeah.
Improving. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Mess around until something sounds good. Like Wonder actually started as just me putting chords on the piano, and then I had like a drum beat in my head that after sitting with that for a while, and then the rest of the song kind of came from that. Yeah,
I can actually relate to that. I'm starting to compose a little bit more for my solo project, and one of my songs, well, or one of my instrumental pieces is going is I just, because I have a little composition music lessons through university, that knowledge, I just wrote like chords on a paper before even hearing how
cool.
they sounded like.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then when I played them, it turned out really well. And all this is going on bass clarinet as well.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the wonders of trying to like think out of the box with composing. Do you keep to like that simplistic sound with his voice and solo guitar? Well, I guess you do looping, but do you expand to other instruments?
Not really. I've worked with, like, I've had violin on a piece on my last record, and but mostly no. It's mostly with like acoustic and electric guitar. I fooled around with a drum on that last tune on the recording, and then just piano parts. I'd like to do more. It's been a long time since I've played other instruments. I used to play like saxophone and all that kind of stuff, and it'd be interesting to bring it in. But at the moment, I kind of like the wheelhouse I'm in is not, gone stale for me yet as far as writing.
Is it also like part of the intimacy that you bring forth as well?
Yeah, I think so for sure. And like the other thing with the instrumentation as well, like touring solo, if I bring too much in, then it might not, might not be able to do that live unless I have other people with me. And then and for me, these last two records, I really wanted them to sound like me performing, kind of thing. So they're both basically live off the floor sounds in a big room that kind of echoed my voice, which is, yeah. So for me, the main thing is that I want to be able to play a show and have somebody go, I like that show, can I take it home? Because I find a lot of albums, including my first two EPs, were like, and people would tell me this, like, I like the show and the album's cool, but it's not the, it's not the same thing. So I kind of want to just
like a more like fluid transition between like live sound and like a recorded sound.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, I guess now, speaking of your albums, why don't we dive into your newest album of this year, Drifting? Do you want to tell us like an overall, I guess, summary to what the album is about?
It's kind of like a dark look inside and like questions of just curiosity in the way things that can't be explained can't logically be explained without like faith-based things. So like a lot of these songs, kind of just my thoughts on death from a philosophical point, whereas, a lot of people have faith of what happens when you die, and outside of the observer of someone who has passed, there's no real like tangible knowledge of what happens to your consciousness afterwards, or your soul, or whatever you want to call it. But it's something that every living thing goes through, and that to me is fascinating. That there's not like this is exactly what happens, outside of assumption or faith or guessing. And there's a lot of like mental health themes through this, which I like to just kind of put into songs, and because it helps me flesh it out, talk it out, kind of thing, and deal with it in a sense. Yeah, does that make sense? Am I rambling? No. I don't know if I'm rambling.
No, that's all good. Do you, like, I did read from the information on the album that I guess it does concern like struggles with mental health. Does that come from a personal place or from experience from people you know?
No, it's personal. Yeah, I've dealt with some stuff, and I guess continue to, and I don't know. I kind of writing about it helped me kind of put it into words too, like not just for myself, but for like people close to me. And it's kind of cool to, you know, have that openness in your music and like not make it too specific so people can to relate to it. And then when people come and say, oh my goodness, you know, is this, and I felt this because this is how I feel. And it's like, it's really cool to be able to relate to certain people with things where you feel like you're alone in it. And yeah.
Yeah, I think like it'll help like destigmatize like the, I guess, the shroud that's mental health. And I probably now with the pandemic, I guess there's a little bit more like uncertainty and questions in people's minds and just general struggle everywhere. And maybe that'll help more people now to hear the your songs and the thoughts you bring out.
Right on. Yeah, I definitely, there's definitely a need to or a want to destigmatize it because like even myself, like I didn't want to admit that I had a problem because it was always like, oh, you can't, you know, you can't admit you need this as a guy, you know, and then, well, even in general, but I feel like it was an extra onus on being a man and having mental problems was just like, ooh, don't talk about that, Rory, you know. And then so for me, I like to talk about it, not in a sense of like trying so much as like to be like, hey, pay attention to me, I have this, but more of like this is something that's relatable and people don't need to hide it as much. And if they hid it less, maybe there'd be less problems in the world in ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are there songs in particular that, I guess, in line with being able to voice some of your struggles, is there ones that have a strong impact either from you or from audience, like reception?
From the audience, I get a lot like the grief ones. I get a lot of people relating to that pretty well, but also like welcome. It's kind of vague a bit, so people have related to that, I think, a little bit, because to me it was like the the shadow and the darkness and the all this stuff was like almost easier that way. It always seemed easier to go that way, and then you know when I got to a point where I realized that it's not actually easier, and what it's doing to other people, you know, I had to work at not being that person, you know, because I don't know, it almost seemed like that person was what seemed like who I was. And then for me personally, when I sought help and did certain things under guidance of help, and I realized that that's not actually who I am, that this person is who I am, and that person I don't want to be anymore. So kind of they're not welcome anymore.
Okay. Actually, that actually like clears that song up a bit for me. Yeah. Well, awesome. Or I guess if like a few of the songs that you've already played are among my favorite ones as well.
Oh, thanks.
Why don't you or I just looking at the list here, there's the ones I like are Scapegoat, or Float, you played at the beginning of the show, and Willful and Blind, which you just played. What is why don't you tell us more about Scapegoat and Float?
Well, float kind of relates to a little bit of what I was saying before. So like, so I don't want to specify too much because then, you know, people listen to it, they might not relate to it as much, but it's kind of the idea of what I was saying, like it's being easier to not deal with the problem and just kind of let it take you where it is, you know, whether that be an addiction or a mental health situation or anything really, you know, it's just that constant while you're dealing with it. And even afterwards, just kind of not wanting to just be like, okay, don't just give in. But then there's that romanticization of just like, if I just stopped, everything would be great. And for me, and I wouldn't have to, you know, be constantly thinking about, is this a proper reaction to this? Or should I be doing this? Or is this actually what I want to do? Or is this, you know, the demons in the head telling me to do that, you know? And then Scapegoat, I think is the only maybe political song-ish on this. And kind of like the coolest notes of it is just that, what had happened? There was a mass shooting incident that was carried out by a Caucasian fellow. And it always seems that when it's a white fellow, that it's, they have mental health problems or they're misunderstood, you know, whereas if it's a person of color, they're like, oh, okay, you know, they were a thug or a terrorist or something like that. But if it's a white, I always find like in the news cycle, if it's a white person, they're like, oh, they have mental health problems. And it's like, that frustrates me as somebody who has mental health problems to be like, it's not, don't just sweep that under the rug. Is that, you know, like there's whole layers to the problem of it. Obviously, like you need to, you know, do better with the communities and have better access to mental health clinics and treatment and addiction centers and all these different things. But it just bothers me that they're like, oh, you know, this person had mental health problems, so it's, you know, that's why they did that.
Then just leaving it like that without any true like resolution, I guess.
Yeah, we're like digging into, you know, oh, hey, they're part of this faction of this thing, but no, it's the mental health. No, you know, something like that. I don't know. Sorry to get too political. I didn't want to drop any names I was referring to of factions, but yeah.
Yeah. So it does really sound like this album is like very meaningful to you. And like, because you've released this through during this pandemic, I guess you've only heard like from online in reviews. Has it been received well?
Yeah, it's been good. It's very strange because like for me, I'm mostly a touring musician, so a lot of my, you know, like I bring the music to people, and so like digital was never really my strong suit, but I've kind of had to figure that out the hard way this time. But it's been nice. It's I got some really nice reviews and like that. It's I feel like it's a slow burn record, so it's not you know, maybe not everybody's gonna pick it up and go, yeah, but then I don't know, maybe people who are into a little more deep listen will be getting into it.
I think it has like the good like dynamic like range of the more like it has the like folk aspect, like an ambient kind of aura to it, as well as like the strong I guess strong presence to it.
Why not? Thanks.
Yeah. Why don't we you now present us with the last music segment for this special.
Sure.
What songs do you have for us?
I was going to do Scapegoat and then Welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. I'm not your scapegoat. I'm no guardian to your ideals. I'm not some talking point. I bleed, I breathe. Just shake my hand and see. It's okay not to know. It's not devastating to be wrong, but interest only grows when the bias is challenged and the subject shares your skin tone. I'm not your scapegoat, I'm no guardian to your ideals. I'm not some talking point. I bleed, I breathe. Just shake my hand and see. I don't care for your display. Vain campaigns to help appearances grow. Now our faces they'll show. To increase profits, make you love them and forget what you should know. That I'm not your scapegoat, I'm no guardian to your ideals. I'm not some talking point. I bleed, I breathe. Just take my hand and see. Is this where we landed? Now they're lying to deflect it away. Is this what you wanted? Anything to take the blame of you and you alone. I'm not your scapegoat, I'm no guardian to your ideal. I'm not some talking point. I bleed, I breathe. Just take my hand and see. All right, and then this song is called Welcome. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome through the door. I no longer feel your significance. I'm no longer yours, no longer yours. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome anymore. 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 Wish I'd never had a taste. I wish you'd left me alone on the floor. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome anymore. Not anymore. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here.
Wow.
Thanks.
Rory Taillon here on the Sentinel's Marvellous Kaleidoscope in this audience far from the Observational Tower. Rory, it's been great to have you here. Finally.
Well, thank you for having me.
Do you have any future plans that you can maybe tell us that you're working on for your music?
Right now, just kind of waiting to see what goes on for the year. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of waiting to be able to tour in support of this new record. And in the meantime, I'm slowly writing again, but I don't want to have two records to to tour. But if it goes that way, it goes that way. And I don't know, just kind of working on projects with other people right now too. And staying home.
Yeah, we all have
safe.
to see where things lead us.
Mm.
where can our listeners and viewers find you and your music?
You can find all of my stuff and what's going on at rorytaillon.com, TAILLON. And all my music is for sale up there and through Bandcamp as well. You can stream it on all streaming platforms. I'm on all the socials as well. And I think I'm not on TikTok. I haven't figured it out yet. I think I'm a little old, but the kids are telling me it's cool.
I've never used it either, so you are all fine.
Awesome.
Last question might be the most important. What is your words of wisdom for us that you can give us?
Right now, I mean, let's all take care of each other because there's some crazy things going on and a lot of insanity and polarization going on. So I think we all just need to respect each other, listen to each other, and let's all just chill and hang out and be cool. Was Bill and Ted? Now I'm really showing how old I am. Be excellent to each other.
Those are great words. Thank you, Rory.
Thank you so much, Nick, for having me.